All right. So, welcome everyone to our introductory evening, Dowsing for Doulas. And my name is Shelley Darling, and I'm the founder of Evolutionary Dowsing and the initiator of the Sacred Evolutionary Dowsing Consortium, which some of the members you'll get to meet tonight and hear a little bit from them as well. So, tonight is very unique. And our focus, and I'll explain why, is dowsing for doulas, parents, and practitioners. And of course, that means I would also invite us to say and look at, we're all land doulas. We're here really living on ancestral land. And the more we can begin to create a powerful and really honorable relationship with the land that we're living on, and understanding that our houses are here to support us in living our highest potential. And so the focus tonight, and as you can see behind me, I have the Mother Tree Doula Training Center, which is brand new, and I'm here in Portland, Oregon. And I want to also honor the ancestral lands that I'm on, of the Clackamas and ancestral territory, unceded territory, and the rivers that run through here, the Columbia and the Willamette rivers, particularly here where I am, the Columbia River watershed. So invite you just to take a moment and take a breath, and just to just get a sense of a river or a mountain or the land that you're on. Because the empowered experience that is being offered through evolutionary dowsing is really about the love. And tonight's focus in terms of doulas and practitioners and parents, and that goes for all of us, because we all live in communities where there are children, and we're considering more and more the generations that are coming behind us. And of course, Indigenous wisdom is to really be respectful and understand the 7 generations behind us. But let's just really open ourselves for those future generations forever. And so tonight is an opportunity for us to get to know a little bit about how dowsing, or you might know it as geomancy, can really enhance and accelerate a positive frequency in which we all can live in an empowered way. So with that, thank you. And want to just welcome our guests who are with us here tonight. And we will be offering a replay. And so those of you that are listening or want to share with your friends, that will be made available. So just want to welcome especially, well, there's actually 3, and I'll explain about the 3rd person here. So Charlie Riverman Bergeron and Tyson Bannigan are with us tonight, and they have really been with us for years and years, and now hold the space as what we call field advisors in evolutionary dowsing. And they're wise elders in terms of dowsing, and they've been involved in what's called the Sacred Evolutionary Dowsing Consortium, which is an ever-evolving group of practitioners and dowsers and healers and light workers who want to play a part in working together as a group that is focused and fundamentally held by heart resonance. And we might share a little bit more about that tonight, but simply want to welcome them. And then Nalasa is here with us, she's just arrived in Boston, and she's one of our newest. I've just worked with her personally for quite a long time, and she's really taken on evolutionary dowsing and really bringing it into the work that she's doing. And she's really our up and coming, beautiful, radiant dowser, and she just brings a unique freshness as each individual does, to our circle as well. So welcome, and welcome everyone else who's on here tonight, and we'll be hearing from you as well. So what is evolutionary dowsing? And I thought some of you might have seen this, but I thought for our friends who might be just watching tonight for the very first time, to show just a 3-minute video that, yes, it was done years ago, but it really holds the essence of the work that we're doing. So I'm going to show that first, and then I'm going to speak a little bit more to children and to the land, and let Charlie and Tyson come join in. And then we'll open it up, because we want this to be a participatory experience. And tonight is not a course, or, be it any amount of time, but coming up next weekend, I will be doing a live local event right at the Mother Tree Doula Training Center. So if you know anyone in Portland, it's a 4.5-hour experience where you will leave with being able to apply some of the tools and techniques that we use in clearing your house, and you will be able to do it immediately. And for those of you who are on with us and are inspired, we'll be doing some online work as soon as I get back to the East Coast. And we have some things brewing. And I also want to mention that we, Charlie and Tyson and a couple of other consortium members, we've been working on a book for about 2.5 years, and with a focus of publishing it hopefully by the end of this year. So can hold that for us as well. So, all right. So let's just watch this together and give people a chance to get a sense of what this is. Okay. And we'll just push this aside.
I thought it would be helpful to get my house doused after having a group of people living in it for quite a while and wanting to shift the energy, and it's important to me to have the house be presentable and inviting for guests who come and for the ones who come to buy it in the future. It was a new way of looking at my house. I may have thought about the energy of a room as a whole or of the house as a whole, but in terms of identifying particular locations where particular things are emanating, that was new. It was really interesting to be doing it that way, and the seeds of that experience are now implanted in me. I probably will never see the house the same way after this. Shelley does this process where she holds up these spinning rods and they give answers to her questions, and it's very mysterious, and it would be very easy to not believe any of it. But I've also been involved with doctors who do muscle testing, and they have the same experience of drawing information out of the field, out of you, wherever it's coming from, out of your intuition. It doesn't really matter what is actually happening there, but it's a way for a very sensitive and intuitive person to get valuable information. I did feel like as she did her work, I could feel a change, a shift. She said the place would open up, and whether there's something physical out there or whether it's inside, it doesn't really matter. It's clear to me that there's a shift in people's attitudes about how we live together and how we form this sort of collective intelligence. It's not necessarily about individuals. More and more I meet people who are getting in touch with the collective experience, the field, what Jung called the collective unconscious. It's important that we keep our attention on that we keep our attention towards how our individual personalities and actions affect everyone around us. And I feel like this work is doing that. It's working in the field with everything that's involved in that.
Dowsing is opening up the field for people to be able to access their true divinity, and their love for themselves and be able to connect more so that they can more freely be that expression. It was about oneness. Right. So just taking a breath, and one of the things that I noticed when I listened to that again was how much communication was talking about the field, the field, the field. And maybe our wise elder consortium members will just take a few moments and share with us, well, what is this field and what are we talking about? And in terms of, Mother Tree and the experience that I had here, this was a unique dowsing that really was over a 3-day experience. So I stayed on the land, and there are Airbnb, I don't know how many Airbnb rooms, there's probably 6 or 7. There's the gypsy wagon, there's the smaller yurt, there's the A-frame, there's a bunch of Airbnbs, and then there's some residential community members. And when we take into account land like this, and especially that's housing and energy for upcoming generations, there's also animals. There's 2 alpacas and 2 mules and a couple of pigs and goats. And so to come into a place where there are people living, whether it be families or a community, we're talking about how do we create a coherence that we feel nourished, and that we can see flourishing in all realms. So that's kind of where we're going tonight. And with that, we just want to open it up and just check in with Charlie and Tyson, and then I'll speak more to children, to the energies that can be affecting them, and we'll open it up to everybody. Yeah. Charlie.
Tyson, you go first. You're the elder.
You wanting me to go first, Charlie?
Sure, I am. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, no, you go first, Shelley. Absolutely.
No, I've already got, just introduce yourself, and just in terms of having a household, and maybe I'll just give it a little more directly, share a little bit about the field, who you are, and in terms of energies that might be affecting, maybe just share one energy that can create an environmental influence, that when that's cleared, what is the the benevolent shift that happens, and in thinking in terms of anyone who's living in a house, in a home, just whatever.
Yeah, okay. So my name is Tyson Bannigan. Interesting enough, I grew up along the Columbia River in Canada, spent many, many hours canoeing on it, and I've canoed the whole length from the headwaters of the Columbia all the way to the ocean. So I passed that, that area by canoe. So the Columbia River is very much part of, well, it's like my own lifeblood, in the sense that it really was my central focus to nature and to community. And I grew up in a small community of 500 people. So when we had events, everybody was there, from the youngest child all the way through to the grannies. So we all danced together, we all watched movies together, we all had dinners together, we all went to church together. So that was an example of community and coherence, that what community used to be like at the village level. And I think for many people today, that sense of community is something that people are looking for, whether it's an intentional community or a community of like-minded people that desire to come together and share, and also to create an environment where it's safe and secure in the field of energy, to be able to birth and raise kids. And so to me, that's really, really important, is to create these safe places for the next generation. So what's the field? So for me, I spend a lot of time helping people take back their personal power and stand in their truth. So the field for me always begins with your own personal field, your own bioenergy field, and helping people clear that with a deep pendulum clearing protocol. What does it mean to take your power back, clean your energy field? Because if you have an energy field that has less trauma, less unresolved conflict, more sense of being coherent with the field of nature around you, then you have more to offer to community. And so community is expanding that field of coherence and sharing it with others. So the field begins and starts within ourselves, and then we can, with that coherence, begin to open our hearts and share that heart resonance with other people. So that's a bit what I would say. So a way to begin is we begin with ourselves.
Right.
So I'm Charlie Riverman Bergeron, and my river that I was born on was in Boston, and I live by the Agamenticus River right beside me, which is in York, Maine. And dowsing came to me through Shelley, meeting Shelley online, and I had no clue of any of this. But I was guided, and now I'm now at a level where, as tonight is being presented to you, looking at the children that are unborn yet in their wombs. And it's really struck me very powerfully as, how can I help mothers, women, with preparing an environment for their children? And not only if they're just bearing children, but what those children are going to live in and what they're living in. And that's what dowsing for me is all about. The evolutionary dowsing is really about, is taking the energies of the fields, the energy fields that surround our homes and our yards, and bring them back into coherence, alignment, removing the negative aspects and enhancing the positive things. And as Tyson said in his work of working with people healing, that energy is really needed. It's not seen, it may not be felt directly as we would touch each other, but it creates this disturbance or distortion that allows us not to be who we truly can be at the highest level. And so I'm just glad to be here. And thank you, Shelley, for bringing this to the women of the world who are going to bring the future generations into the world. Because as we look around us now in the discord and the separation, that, as Tyson said, the consortium is based on a 12 around one principle, where there is no individual 12s. We all become whole. And if we having a trouble, we change positions and look at it from another direction in order to maintain coherence. This is what we do in our own homes. We find where the disturbance is and we realign it. And so that's probably the briefest I can be. But thank you for listening. Thank you, Shelley.
Oops. Am I unmuted? there we go. Sorry. So thank you. I'm like going like, whoa, wait a minute here. All right. So anyway, I think the first thing that I want to share and want to move us into and is thinking about ourselves as children. Take a moment and be thinking about, just imagine the home where you lived, right? And just taking a look at this little guy right here. And did we, I'm not sure, like, did we all grow up with cell phones? Not necessarily, and think about the environment that you grew up in. If you weren't living in the country, a very, very rural area, then you were being influenced by the power lines, the big high tensor wires, and even the phone lines coming to our house. And these influence are, if you go, let's just go right to the womb, right? Charlie was just talking about babies and I was just imagining the womb water. And here we have this child, right, holding the cell phone right close to his ear. And many of us know about this, but we also have to assume that not everybody does, right? And tonight I'm getting it a little bit into some of the environmental, the non-beneficial influences that have been shared, and let you guys open this up. But just want to take a few more look at, here's a house, right? Excuse me, I was trying to put this into this is what I was doing before you guys, before I got on, and I will create a new PowerPoint. But essentially, here we have our homes. And like I said, what are the things that are creating these distortions in our field that in effect make us feel like we can't think straight, we have brain fog, and not just from the pandemic. These are things, brain fog was already happening, or if you're a writer, writer's block, or maybe you're experiencing a high level of anxiety. Some of these things that are influencing us, that are in our homes, of course, now computers, and even just think about the babies, the babies, what are those microphones, that are at the head of the babies, and the computers now, and how we can watch babies on the phone. So these things do affect us. And some of the stronger influences are what we call like geopathic stress. And I'll share one last. Monitors, thank you. Couldn't think of what it was, right? So I'm just going to share one more thing, and then we'll just move forward with this. Just for people that are watching this, and this isn't just children, this is all of us being affected by certain frequencies that don't support our sleep, our wellness, our brain function, and much more, our nervousness. And so when you're I don't know why this not letting me whatever. So that are influencing, our nervous system. So we talk about geopathic stress, which is, geo just means the earth, and geopathic stress is inharmonious energies that are making us sick, the earth sick, right? So we want to look at some of these things that are now really affecting us in a world where there isn't all this, power lines and electromagnetic frequencies. It was an easier way to live with our bodies, feeling in a direct relationship to the earth. But now there are certain influences. We talk about Hartman and Curry lines. They run positively until they hit a source of electricity, like a fuse box, or think about a pump or air conditioner or something like that, or a pool, things that when that hits, they become negative Hartman and Curry lines, and they affect our nervous system. So learning some of these things and learning how to apply some of these evolutionary tools, to what is an ancient science, really supports the healing of our whole living system, which Charlie was talking about. This is whole system healing. And so I'll stop at that and open it up for people to speak and take a look at why I'm having trouble highlighting people all of a sudden. So I'm just going to open it up and just jump in and ask your questions. Since you're here, we want to hear from you. And yeah, what called you here? What land are you on? And what's moving in you as you're listening to some of this?
I'll jump in, grab the feather. I live in the Pacific Northwest, northwest corner of Washington State. I grew up on a big farm in the S of the Stillaguamish River. And so it would have been the lands of the Stillaguamish at one time. And now I'm on the Skagit River, and the lands are the Upper Skagit and the Lower Skagit and the Lummi and the Nooksack and Swinomish. I mean, there's still indigenous tribes that live around here. And I grew up on that farm outside. We were outside all the time, from morning till dark. Mom would whistle and we could hear her, whether we were down at the river or up in the woods or wherever we were. We'd come running. And we didn't have cell phones. We had one phone, and it was what are they? Party lines. They were party lines in the old days. And so you had to make sure nobody was on the line before you even called anybody. But I'm here to learn. I'm here out of curiosity. I would like to someday learn how to manage it, to learn to douse and to manage my environment. And so that's why I'm here. And I appreciate you popping me in tonight, Shelley. Thank you.
Thank you. No, actually, that's beautiful. For our remembering of something like that. For some of us, we haven't had that kind of growing up in a world that we could run free on, in the woods like that. And still, as you learn, and one of the things that I've done a lot in the past, which is really calling to me, is to work on childhood homes remotely with people. Because when we go back, we begin to see how we've attracted some similarities that are still sitting in our system, some aspect that that is still influencing our ability to move forward. And we do a lot of work with emotional integration, or spiritual work, but we don't realize a lot of, like, I think it was Charlie or Tyson that was speaking to the patterning, right? And so let's hear from another person, and Nalasa will love to hear from you as well. And by the way, we want to welcome Heather. That's actually my daughter. And I don't know, we'll see if she can speak. She'll let us know, but would love to also hear from Heather, because Heather has been working with Jesse Reamer, who isn't on with us tonight, and hopefully we'll do another one where she is involved with us. But Heather's a doula and also has experienced the dowsing and been watching me douse, many places, and then also the place where she's living. So Heather, if at any point you feel like you can jump on and just say hi, or if you can't get on with your screen, we understand. And just share a little bit about your experience. So Tammy or Becky, do you feel like jumping in and
unmute here? Hi, everybody. I'm Tammy Molina, and I'm in Niskuna, New York. This is the unceded land of the Mohican Nation, and I am close to the Mohawk River. I have been interested in dowsing and consciousness and the infinite field of intelligence and energy for about 5 years. And I know Shelley from a couple different platforms and programming and stuff. So yeah, I'm really curious. My background is in nursing. It's interesting. I'm just in the past year have been putting together how the energies affect the family. So the electromagnetic fields, but also the parents' energy, how that affects the kids too, and I can retrospectively look at that and see. So I actually just bought a house today. I just found out in Syracuse, New York. So I'm really excited to get over there because I wanted to get over there for some time and work with the Onondaga Nation and just learn and offer and be a talking circle facilitator, work in their health center and offer some of the dowsing stuff, some of the EFT and the tapping, the body work, the access consciousness bars, all that, all those different tools that we use that are muscle testing and all of that stuff to just kind of see if we can collectively shift. Can I share things that I know and learn more to help shift that to just, So I did douse both in my house. I did take my rods with me to the house when I was house hunting. And I got my agent was so funny. She was like, what are you doing? Oh my gosh. But I did, when I asked questions, I knew that today I would find out that I got the house today. So really interesting. So yeah, so it feels really good when that happens. And I'm like, am I influencing that, or is it real?
Perfect. I love that. So, this is what happens. We start out with one thematic and then we expand, and that's very auspicious that you bought this house. And I think it'd be really cool to, have the opportunity to work together and to actually see what's really going on. So yes, we've attracted the right house. Now, what's going on with that house and in the world that, in the world that I live in, which is inclusive of something else you said also, and it's inclusive of evolutionary dowsing, because evolutionary dowsing isn't simply just going and dowsing, looking for water and looking for each land. It also includes the emotional aspect, right? We can't support people in that quickening if we don't understand some of the, deeper somatics, embodied information to support that person. And so when I go douse, some of the things that I'm looking for are key lines, as an example. What is a key line? A key line is really an experience not everyone has, but why are you particularly attracted to that house? That house might have a specific message for you. It might have to do with your evolution. And there's a process in which we can engage in to take a look at that. So there's some really powerful things to look at, how water's running under your house, how it's affecting checking, as an example, I just went and oops, I'm just sorry, I gotta get this thing. Oops, I don't know why excuse me one second. It's letting me highlight everybody else, but not myself. Okay, so I just went and did this dowsing for another community, and in the main house, and I like to start with the main house, start outside the land, and work with, I have a Feng Shui background, so that I will give certain golden nuggets and support the person in an embodied experience of their land and their home. But then when we get inside and we start to do that assessment, the person, there were two people actually I was dowsing with, and one of them was this highly, highly sensitive, empathic person. And she was just like, she would go, get in one spot and she would just become, you could see her body just tighten and freeze. Well, how is it that I start dowsing and doing the assessment, and there's just a ton of interference, and and eventually go back around that house, follow the rods and discover, what's going on there is, negative Hartman lines, interference lines, all coming at the same point through the smart meter, through the fuse box, the refrigerator sitting up against, it's just like amplifying, amplifying, amplifying. And that person that's opening up, the refrigerator doesn't know anything, but they are being affected by that. And as soon as we clear that, you can see the body just settle down. And that's what we're looking for, to create a home that exudes calmness, peacefulness, a sense of, oh my God, I can relax, So those are some of the things that, we look for in that. Yeah. So I look forward to playing with you if you want to around doing some more. And congratulations, that's incredibly auspicious that tonight that would be happening. And the somatic piece is really important. And I'm also hearing it's important for me to kind of start to bring out more and more, well, what is that? How do you work with dowsing and integrate this somatic, the embodied experience? So with that, I've worked with Nalasa, and would you like to share a little bit your experience with dowsing and going in deeper as a, and being mentored and then taking it into your expression? Powerful.
I don't really know where to begin. I guess the question of a field or being in the field. So like you talk about heart resonance, and even other people, like the idea of like, I tuned in, did I influence it or not? And even what Tyson talked about, one of my main premises in working with people is like, you have an energy field and your home is an extension of your energy field. And so if you change anything in your home, you're also changing that internally, and vice versa. And so I feel like it's the same coin, but different aspects. And so with dowsing, I find it really fascinating because there are all of these influences from different things, and they're having an effect on your body. And so you can clean it outside, but also you can clean things inside, and then you'll naturally decide to move the bed around, or rearrange things, or redecorate, or change various bodily things. And so I find it such a fascinating place. And I don't know, is there any thing specific that I've absolutely loved working with Shelley. I'm currently in Boston, but I'm quite nomadic. Yeah. What are you gonna say?
Oh, I was just I think you expressed it, and maybe just give an example of a place where you've gone and applied some of these tools, and just maybe a certain circumstance where you saw a shift from using these specific evolutionary dowsing tools in a home. You've been doing a lot of homes, actually. We've done a bunch together. So yeah, I think people would be interested.
Yeah, I mean, I think partly it's interesting. The word like a softening comes to mind. But I think the process of evolutionary dowsing is really a way for you to just like create a still space to tune into the different areas. Like, what is the land wanting you to know? How is your connection with like with yourself in relation to that? So I feel I remember most one of my most recent dowsings was with this woman in Edinburgh because that's where I was based. And it like the house itself felt like so much a part of like it was like the house is destined for her. And it reminded me of key lines of just like thinking about lineage of taking ownership of somewhere. And I feel like, especially in today's society, and possibly due to like the influences of different fields or interferences like within the home, like we end up getting so stuck in our heads. And as soon as you actually create the space to connect with the land, of tapping into it, it drops you out of your head and really allows you to feel the support of the environment you're living in. And when that happens, I feel like so much magic happens. Um, a person I didn't even douse, I was talking with her, a friend that I also made in Scotland, and I ended up just being like, just go home and literally like ask, like befriend your home, like ask for it to support you. And she said that she's been living there for a few years and she hasn't felt like it's been her home, or she hasn't really felt settled in yet. And I think she went home and did this, like not really like thinking about it like that, intuitively just like saying it and letting it go. And she's like, and then I met up with her a while later. She's like, oh my gosh, like shortly after, I've just been feeling so good in my home, like it actually feels like it's mine now. And I was like, did you do that thing? Because like she said it and she hadn't put them together. And she was like, oh my gosh, yes. And like she just felt like this different type of support from her walls, from just the land that she was on. And so I feel like it's both this very subtle but like very explicit like relationship that you end up building. And that's just like a small part of like obviously a much bigger process. So yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ooh, great. So let's just take a breath here, because you've heard us talk about heart resonance. And when Nalasa started talking about the softening, right? And when I'm feeling into children and that innocence and that love and wanting to create a space for the child within us, right? And for our physical children, or like you were saying, your families, to have a space that is essentially a sanctuary. We want our homes to be a sanctuary, a place where relationships can flourish, where abundance and prosperity can be part of that experience in all areas, right? And what was coming to me was this relationship of heart resonance and the Divine Mother, right? We all want to feel that we're supported. We all want to feel that we're loved, and we want our homes to be a place where that sense of embracement can happen. And creating in a field of heart resonance. So resonance being that vibratory frequency that where we experience home. So as an example, before I start any dowsing, before the consortium gathers with and starts any experience, we start in a place of heart resonance. There's a lot of different meditations. There's a lot of different ways to invoke the space, And we do that as well when we're dowsing, when we take our clients outside their house and begin to open the house. But let's just have a direct experience of what we're talking about. So the invitation is to just like here tonight, and for those of you that are listening, to take a few moments and just, if you feel comfortable, close your eyes. If you don't have to. It doesn't depend on that. But just making that connection with your heart and and simply opening your breath and feeling your feet on the ground connected to the earth. Even if you're in the city, even if you're in an apartment, condo, it doesn't matter. And coming into a greater communion with this fluid state of being. We talk about energy is everything. And just taking a moment to tune into the energy that's moving within your body. And someone else was talking about that still place, the home being that place of stillness, where we connect to our more intuitive self, our guidance. And this is a part of that dowsing, to strengthen that inner guidance, to feel that sense of confidence. It begins right here. And then I'll invite people to just allow your awareness to rise above your head about 1.5 feet, and connecting with the larger field of awareness, or what I like to call the joy point. And to open ourselves to feel that relational experience with the vast universe, so that where we become informed. So when we're connected to the heart, we're open to receiving the new information. We take a breath and we soften our bodies and we soften our jaws. Let your jaw drop a little more. Let yourself sit deeper in your body. Allow a little movement. And you can begin to feel this undulation, this sense of movement, because even in that still space, there's still movement. And imagine now just being in the room you're in and feeling that connection to the house, and allowing your awareness to expand outside the house to your land, to the trees, to the water. And it doesn't make sense to the mind, so we keep coming back to the heart, because it's the generator of this field that we're speaking to, this quantum relationship with all of life. And now just playing, put one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly, your womb area. Even men have wombs. We come from the womb water. I'm just feeling this brilliant connection of love and light. And our deep roots that connect us to the earth and the crystalline grid. And as we take another breath in, we just open to receiving that sense of nurturing. And we are a full ecosystem moving of lifeblood, of water. And just check in and kind of imagine the water outside you, or the closest river, and then bring your attention back to your womb waters, to your blood that's being pumped by this beautiful heart, keeping everything in coherent manner. In a perfect world, this system is one living system. And coming back to that beautiful heartbeat, that rose chamber of love. And when we feel strengthened and when we feel empowered, we're connected to our whole self. And very gently opening your eyes and taking a look around, orienting yourself to your space, to the people here. And this is the environment we want to live in. This is the environment, this full connection to our whole self that's fluidly moving. And so when we're dowsing, we're simply, yes, we're bringing back to blueprint. At least as evolutionary dowsers, we want to bring our home and our land back to that blueprint, right? If we got a cut on our arm, we wouldn't just throw the Band-Aid on. We want to clear that cut, clean it, and then put that Band-Aid or ointment or whatever you put on. So the same thing with the land. We want to find out, as was being shared tonight, what's moving? What does the land want? How can I live in resonance, through a heart-based relationship with even the elementals, the earth diva? Right? I'm trying to write a book. I'm working on a movie. I want to be working in a space that's conducive, that's coherent, that's always bringing in that new information. I'm working with children. I'm working with babies. I'm bringing babies into the world. Imagine, number one, having your own space being at the highest vibration for you to work as a doula, as a practitioner, as a dowser, whatever it is. Or as a parent to know, hey, I'm bringing my children into this space in a loving, supportive environment where these energies, these really toxic or detrimental energies, are remediated. So I can create a sanctuary for my children, for my clients. And so there are many, many tools, and we've just talked a little bit about tonight, but this is the opportunity to grow and to learn. And yeah, sure, I can go buy what's called a tensor ring, in one of the courses or online courses, or we can talk more about things like this, which is a positive portable. I like to think of it as a portable vortex. And I can, even if your house is not dust, you can put that in your house and it will start to create a shift in the environment. And for those of you who, there's usually a question around, well, what about Feng Shui? How does that work? And to me, Feng Shui is incredibly beautiful, but it does not deal with earth energies, such as a negative vortex, such as geopathic stress, such as negative Hartman, negative Curry lines, such as entities or ancestral trauma on your land that your house is sitting on that is definitely affecting your home. How do we become attracted to our homes? And how do we clear it? And how do then, once we clear it, how do we raise that vibration? And so that's the beginning, and that's really why we've come here tonight, to just inspire some of this query, inspire you to talk to one of us, to have a free consultation with myself or Charlie or Tyson, or Nalasa, like these are, and to create a radiant field of energy. And the other thing I just want to add is, because Mother Tree is a community, and oddly enough, I've been in Portland and I found myself dowsing 3 places, and they're all communities. And so once we work on one house, guess what? It affects our neighbors. It affects our community. And essentially, and I'll leave it like this, and then we'll check in if there's any more questions or anything that wants to be shared tonight. In fact, I think we'll close this video and we'll stay open if people have questions. But the one thing to remember with evolutionary dowsing, at least I can speak for that, is that all anything other than love will recalibrate into its highest order, and we want that. That's what we want. So sometimes if we're not really aligned with our purpose or our sense of having a strong feeling about our sense of direction, then things will recalibrate to support us to have that level, high level quickening, and to really move into our highest potential. So with that, I'm going to close the recording for now, and we will be making more of these, and there will be an opportunity for online, getting more information online. But for now, stay tuned by going to, you can go to evolutionarydowsing.com. You can go to evolutionarydowsing.com on Facebook or Instagram, The Darling Dowser, and also both Tyson as well has a lot of opportunities. The Wellness Academy, you can go there as well to learn more about this. So with that, thank you for joining us, and hopefully Jesse Reamer will be able to join us in another presentation and a sharing, or at least I'll do an interview. And Heather, thank you for being with us. And she said that she couldn't get on. She just was putting her daughter to bed, my little 4-year-old granddaughter. And so, yeah, we want our places to be at the highest vibration, receiving the clearest information. So thanks so much. And I'm going to just stop this recording.